Have you ever had a dream so vivid, so real, that it shook you to your core? A dream that felt less like a random collection of thoughts and more like a glimpse into the future. Today, we're journeying back thousands of years to the heart of the most powerful empire of its time, to uncover a story of a king haunted by such a dream, and the humble prophet who dared to reveal its world-altering meaning. This is the story of Daniel and the dream that foretold the rise and fall of kingdoms. Our story begins in ancient Babylon, a city of immense wealth and power, ruled by the formidable King Nebuchadnezzar. One night, the king awakens in a cold sweat. A dream, a terrifying and magnificent vision, has left him deeply troubled. But here's the problem: he can't remember the details. He only remembers the overwhelming feeling it left behind, a sense of dread and urgency. Frustrated and desperate, Nebuchadnezzar summons all the wise men of his kingdom, the magicians, the astrologers, the sorcerers, and the Chaldeans. He issues an impossible demand: tell me what I dreamed and what it means. If you can, you'll be rewarded with riches and honor. But if you can't, you will be torn limb from limb, and your houses will be turned into piles of rubble. A chilling silence falls over the court. The wise men are stunned. They protest. There is not a man on earth who can do what the king asks. No king, however great and mighty, has ever asked such a thing of any magician or astrologer. They could offer interpretations if they were told the dream, but to conjure the dream itself from the king's forgotten memory, that was a power reserved for the gods, not for mortals. The king's patience wears thin. His frustration turns to rage. He orders the execution of every single wise man in Babylon. The decree goes out, and the king's guard, led by a man named Arioch, begins to round them up. Among those to be executed is a young man from Judah, a captive in Babylon, known for his wisdom and integrity. His name is Daniel. When Arioch comes for Daniel and his friends Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, Daniel doesn't panic. He calmly and wisely asks Arioch, "Why is the king's decree so harsh?" Arioch explains the impossible situation. Immediately, Daniel sees a sliver of hope. He goes before the king and boldly asks for one thing: time. He promises that if he is given just one night, he will reveal the dream and its interpretation. The king, perhaps seeing a flicker of genuine confidence in Daniel's eyes, agrees. Daniel rushes back to his friends. This isn't a moment for human strategy, it's a moment for divine intervention. They fall to their knees and pray, urging the God of heaven to show them mercy, to reveal this mystery so that they and the other wise men of Babylon might be saved from certain death. That night, as Daniel sleeps, the mystery is revealed to him in a vision. He sees exactly what the king dreamed. Overwhelmed with gratitude, Daniel praises God, saying, "Praise be to the name of God forever and ever. Wisdom and power are his. He changes times and seasons. He deposes kings and raises up others. He gives wisdom to the wise and knowledge to the discerning. He reveals deep and hidden things." With renewed confidence, Daniel goes to Arioch and says, "Do not execute the wise men of Babylon. Take me to the king, and I will interpret his dream for him." Brought once again into the throne room, Daniel stands before the most powerful man in the world. Nebuchadnezzar looks at him and asks, "Are you able to tell me what I saw in my dream and interpret it?" Daniel's response is a masterclass in humility and faith. He says, "No wise man, enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about. But there is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in days to come." Daniel makes it clear that this revelation isn't from his own wisdom, but from God, who wants the king to understand the future he has ordained. Then, Daniel begins to describe the dream. "Your Majesty," he says, "as you were lying there, you looked, and there before you stood a large statue, an enormous, dazzling statue, awesome in appearance." As Daniel speaks, the forgotten images flood back into the king's mind. He remembers it all. Daniel continues, "The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms were of silver, its belly and thighs were of bronze, its legs were of iron, and its feet were a mixture of iron and baked clay." The king listens, captivated. as every detail he had forgotten is laid bare. While you were watching, Daniel says, a rock was cut out, but not by human hands. It struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and smashed them to pieces. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were all broken to pieces at the same time and became like chaff on a threshing floor in the summer. The wind swept them away without leaving a trace. But the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain and filled the whole earth. Nebuchadnezzar is speechless. This was his dream, exactly as he had seen it. Now for the crucial part, what did it all mean? Daniel begins to interpret. Your Majesty, you are the King of Kings. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power and might and glory. You are that head of gold. This represents the Babylonian Empire, glorious and powerful, the dominant force of its time. But after you, Daniel explains, another kingdom will rise, inferior to yours. This is the chest and arms of silver. History tells us this was the Medo-Persian Empire, which conquered Babylon. While vast, it was considered inferior in its splendor to Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom. Next, a third kingdom, one of bronze, will rule over the whole earth. This points to the Greek Empire under Alexander the Great, whose conquests were swift and stretched across the known world, just like the gleaming bronze of the statue's belly and thighs. Finally, there will be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, for iron breaks and smashes everything. It will crush and break all the others. This was the Roman Empire, known for its military might, its iron legions, and its unyielding rule that crushed all opposition. But then Daniel gets to the most curious part of the statue, the feet. Just as you saw that the feet and toes were partly of baked clay and partly of iron, so this will be a divided kingdom. It will have some of the strength of iron, but as you saw iron mixed with clay, so the people will be a mixture and will not remain united, any more than iron mixes with clay. This describes the eventual fragmentation and internal weakness of the mighty Roman Empire, and the divided kingdoms that followed. It was strong, yet brittle. Powerful, yet unstable. And what about the rock? This is the climax of the prophecy. Daniel declares, in the time of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will it be left to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will itself endure forever. This is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut out of a mountain, but not by human hands, a rock that broke the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver and the gold to pieces. This final, eternal kingdom is not a human empire. It is the spiritual kingdom of God, established by the Messiah. It's a kingdom that doesn't conquer with swords and armies, but with truth and love. It's a kingdom that grows not through human effort, but through divine power, eventually filling the entire earth. Overwhelmed, King Nebuchadnezzar falls prostrate before Daniel. He acknowledges the power of Daniel's God, saying, "Surely your God is the God of gods, and the Lord of kings, and a revealer of mysteries." The king promotes Daniel to a high position, making him ruler over the entire province of Babylon and placing him in charge of all its wise men. This incredible story is more than just ancient history. It's a powerful message that resonates even today. It reminds us that human empires, no matter how mighty they seem, are temporary. They rise and they fall according to a divine timetable. But amidst the shifting sands of human history, there is one kingdom that is eternal, unshakable, and everlasting. The dream reveals a grand narrative, and ultimately, history is not a random series of events, but a story being guided by a sovereign hand, moving toward a final, glorious conclusion. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the past. If you found this story as fascinating as I do, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the powerful stories that have shaped our world. See you next time.